In this video, I'm going to show you a macronutrient tracking spreadsheet. Based on the menu data you put together for a week, it can tell you how much of each nutrient you are consuming, in addition to several other analyses that it will also provide. If you are interested in this material, it is available for purchase at the link in the video description. What we are seeing on this screen is one of the final products of this spreadsheet, that is, the comparison for each of the nutrients reported of how much is being consumed according to the weekly menu that was reported. Additionally, we can see what the main meals were on certain days in terms of nutrients. We can also calculate the nutrient consumption target you have reached and, at the end, create a shopping list so that you can maintain the entire menu you have provided. But before we get to the data that is the result of this spreadsheet, we need to enter some registration data. What are the registrations that we must make? First, you must inform what measurements will be used in each meal, so grams, milligrams, kilograms, quantity. It will vary according to your location or your diet. And also what the meals are, so you can inform breakfast, lunch, dinner, supper, all the meals you have during the day. You can register here because later when putting together the menu this can be useful. Then you will enter the nutrients with a maximum limit of up to 20 nutrients. You will enter the name of the nutrient in this first column. In the second column you will inform whether this nutrient is better when it is higher or lower. Then you will enter the daily reference and finally, which is the unit of measurement of those that you previously registered that this daily reference refers to. So let's take an example, sodium. Sodium is a nutrient that is better when it is lower in content. So you should enter that in this checkbox. The daily sodium limit is 2000 milligrams. So the spreadsheet will consider that you have reached your sodium goal if your daily intake is less than 2000 milligrams. The opposite is also true, for example, for proteins. Protein consumption should be greater than 80 g per day. So in this case you must enter this data here in the spreadsheet. Then you will start registering foods. In this tab you will enter all the foods that can be part of your weekly menu. You notice that you have a record of up to 300 foods, with each line representing one food. The data in the column will be data that is related to that food. As an example, let's take the case of grilled tilapia. Grilled tilapia will have all this data that you have to fill in. The first thing you have to inform is how many grams of ready-made dish, that is, already cooked, the nutrient data will refer to. So, in this case, I'm putting it for 100 grams of ready-made, already cooked tilapia. It will refer to this data that we're seeing here. Then you need to inform what the ratio is between the raw dish and the cooked dish. In this case, with tilapia, it is 70%. What does this mean? It means that, between the weight of the cooked tilapia divided by the weight of the raw tilapia, we have approximately a percentage rate of 70%. So to get, for example, 70 grams of already cooked tilapia, you need 100 grams of raw tilapia. After entering this correction factor, you will enter the data for each of the nutrients. Each of the nutrients that you previously registered will appear here above. And then you need to enter how much of each nutrient there is, in this case, in 100 grams of tilapia. So, for example, protein 17.9 grams, fiber 0 grams, cholesterol 49 milligrams, sodium 228 milligrams. So, for each nutrient you will have to enter the data for the dish you are entering. Once you have registered all the dishes, you will create your menu. You will create what you will eat on each day. Each line will be a food item. You will have to enter the day of the week for each food, which meal you are referring to and which of the foods you registered. Finally, you will enter how much of that food you are going to eat. Please note that the conversion rate you entered is displayed here and will be used to calculate how much of the raw portion this cooked portion is referring to. Once you enter the data here about how much of that food you are going to consume, from now on it is just a calculation. you don't need to do anything. The spreadsheet will automatically calculate the data so that you can already know how much of each nutrient you will consume. Once you have entered your menu and all the items we saw earlier, you can start analyzing your spreadsheet. The first analysis you can do is to compare products, compare dishes that may be equivalent. So how do you do this? You can compare up to 15 of them. You'll choose the dish you want to compare and you'll enter here above how much weight you want to compare of each of these dishes. The spreadsheet will automatically show how much of each nutrient you have in the floor here that you entered for each dish. So you can see, for example, which one has more protein, which one has less cholesterol, which one has less sodium, which one has more calcium, and so on. You can quickly compare different foods that can be equivalent and even change these items in your diet. Then we can get to that tab that I showed you at the beginning of the video. Based on the menu that you entered earlier, the spreadsheet will calculate how much of each protein in total you are consuming per day. And it will tell you whether you are reaching the goal that you had set. For example, protein. Protein on Sunday I consume 63.3 grams. 63.3 grams. On Monday, 74.9. On Friday, 65.9. And on Saturday, 44.8. Since it is in red, it means that none of the days reached the minimum consumption of 80 grams that you had stipulated. On the other hand, sodium is a diet that is hitting every day. You notice that every day it turns green, meaning that consumption is below the 2,000 milligrams that you had stipulated. To be able to make everything green, you need to go back to your diet and add larger amounts or adjust the food to one that has more nutrients than the one you want to reach your goal. For example, if I look here at proteins, on Monday, 74.9. If I come here to change my Monday diet and choose, for example, this food here, chicken, and say that I will consume 200 grams, and when I come back here, I have reached my protein goal. Why? Because it's a larger portion of a food that has a lot of protein, and in this case you can reach your goal. Then you can adjust the items to meet your established goals. Speaking of hitting goals, I also have to show you the Goal Achievement tab. What does that mean? It means that you will choose one of the nutrients, such as protein, for example, you will choose the day of the week, such as Wednesday. You will change foods so that you reach the goal. For example, when I look at protein on Wednesday, I'm hitting 74.89 grams of protein when my goal is 80 grams of protein, and my goal is 80 grams, and my goal is 80 grams. Based on that, I'm not hitting my goal. And I can choose, based on everything I ate that day, which will automatically appear here, which foods I want to vary the quantity of so that I reach my goal. So look, if I put everything as no, I'll be left with the same 74.89. But if I choose yes for some foods, such as chicken, it will change the amount of chicken I will eat, which was 100 and will become 117.9, and with that I will ingest more protein from this food, reaching my goal. I can also choose other foods. I can come here at dinner and put this other food, for example, so he will divide the burden. He will put a little for this one who was like yes and another little for this one who was like yes, in order to reach his goal. It is important that you only put it in items that have a good concentration of this nutrient, such as chicken. If I put it in something else, such as tomatoes, I would have to consume a very large quantity of tomatoes here, practically half a kilo, to reach my goal, so it is important that you do this filter. In addition, we have the graphs section. You can select a specific nutrient, a specific day of the week, and whether you want to see the foods that are consuming less of that nutrient or more. And the spreadsheet will show you this graph to make it easier for you to visualize. You can see for any day of the week you want, as well as for various foods. Oh, I want to see, for example, sodium. What foods am I consuming the most sodium to reduce? You can see the biggest ones. I want to see which foods I'm consuming the least sodium in on a given day. You come here and do this analysis. So, you can do all this analysis very simply in this tab of the spreadsheet. And finally, based on the menu you entered from Monday to Friday, the spreadsheet automatically tells you how much you will have to buy. You will have a shopping list for each food, and the quantity you will need to buy so that you can maintain this diet throughout the week. So, in addition to being a macronutrient tracker, this spreadsheet helps you organize your entire diet. You will be able to plan your meals in a very simple way with this spreadsheet that is extremely easy to use and very professional. If you like this material, I recommend that you purchase this spreadsheet that is available at the link in the video description. See you around and see you later.